Try as they might, they will not be able to avoid Zoran Mamdani. He is truly the main character right now. Everybody knows and has an opinion about Zoran Mamdani. You cannot pretend that he's not in the picture politically. As much as Cory Booker wants to pretend that he's not part of that picture with Netanyahu. Thursday after the election, when the bulk of ballots left in drop boxes are counted. Yeah, so we still don't technically know the result of the election in Seattle, but that is expected. I actually kind of expect Katie Wilson to win that, because they basically counted all the right-wing votes first. And the right-wing candidate is ahead by like 7%. But yes, Zoran Mamdani won. All the other Democrats, for the most part, won their races. And you should see the Democratic Party establishment squirm to avoid mentioning Mamdani at all. It was great. It was beautiful. It was glorious. In fact, let me see if I can't pull that up right now. Yeah, here we go. This is by far not the only instance of this, but you know, it's from Ken Klippenstein. We love Ken Klippenstein here. Here we go, Mr. NSPM7 compliant himself. Subscribe to his newsletter, etc. You know the memes if you're a Ken Klippenstein appreciator. They're just pretending Mamdani doesn't exist. You can see here, Cory Booker, noted establishment shill and Zionist hack. So we have here Cheryl, that is in New Jersey. Philly and New Jersey, very good. Spanberger in Virginia. And California with Proposition 50. That's the redrawing of districts over there. You will notice Zoran Mamdani is absent from all his mentions of the Democratic Party's victories. Oh yeah, also the most insane subreddit alive, by the way, r/Democrats. It is literally a rule that you can't post about Zoran Mamdani. You will get banned from the official Democratic Reddit community. No Democratic Socialists, no independents, no third parties, no socialism, no Marxism, no Leninism. You know, so I guess nobody that we don't like, even when they're part of our party. And of course, people are bringing up this fucking infamous photo where here's Benjamin Netanyahu, all the party leaders. There's John Thune, there's Chuck Schumer, and here's Cory Booker. Try as they might, they will not be able to avoid Zoran Mamdani. He is truly the main character right now. Everybody knows and has an opinion about Zoran Mamdani. You cannot pretend that he's not in the picture politically. As much as Cory Booker wants to pretend that he's not part of that picture with Netanyahu. You know.
Later.
I was talking about Zoran Mamdani earlier. The Mamdani mandate, the Mamdate, is upon us. Is this? Yes, it is. Okay. Shout out C-SPAN. I don't have to go to like Fox News and risk getting copyright nuked. This is Zoran Mamdani had some things to say after he was elected mayor of New York City. Again, because of the way elections work in the United States, he won't actually be sworn in as mayor until January. But he won the election and he will be the next mayor.
Next, Democratic candidate Zoran Mamdani addresses supporters after his victory in the New York City mayoral race.
Thank you. Let's can we see the turn off the captions? How long is this speech? 25 minutes. Sure, fuck it. I'm actually gonna turn the volume down. Let me know, how's the volume for you guys for the audio for this speech. It's not like too overpowering if I'm speaking as that's happening. Like, is that fine?
Thank you, my friends. The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said,
Sounds fine. Can hear you both good. That's good.
I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity.
By the way, that's some American lore. Eugene Debs was a socialist who was arrested in the 1910s, ran for president from prison, and got over 1 million votes at a time when the United States population was, I think, 30 million. Here, hold on. U.S. population in 1917, from 1900. Oh no, it was about 100 million at the time? Wait, that didn't seem right. Oh, okay. Guess it was about 100 million. Nonetheless, it was very significant because he was a third-party candidate. He was running with the Socialist Party in America. And he still got over 1 million votes, running for president from prison, by the way. They arrested him for his political speech. Thing that did happen in America, despite despite the First Amendment being what it is. During the First World War, people were arrested for doing anti-war propaganda or like, vocally opposing the war because it's like, oh, you're doing pro-German propaganda. So this is like a deep cut to show his socialist street cred.
Can remember,
online cookies.
The working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater.
Base.
Tonight.
Oh yeah, they're showing the results of the election here. These elections were not close. So here's Zoran Mamdani got 50.4%. This was just as this was happening, by the way. I think that the final vote count showed a bit more. So even if all of Sliwa's votes went to Cuomo, like if he dropped out, Mamdani still would have won by a comfortable margin. Then in Virginia, in New Jersey, yeah, Democrats won big time, I think. In Virginia, the Democrat won 15 points, by the way. This is like 15% gap between a lackluster Democrat and a lackluster Republican. Also Virginia for lieutenant governor. Also, I think there was also, yeah, also Virginia, attorney general. This was after, by the way, a massive scandal where Jay Jones had some like text messages with him joking about killing his Republican opponent, and Republicans pretended to be mad at that because only they should be allowed to joke about killing their political opponents. And then people voted for Jay Jones anyway. Then this is New Jersey governor. Democrats won big. And back to New York City mayor.
The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty.
That is true. Oh yeah, also the redistricting plan passed in California. 63 to 36. It was not close. And yes, the Cuomos were in fact a political dynasty in New York. Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He was also the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under Bill Clinton. His father was governor of New York, and Mario Cuomo, and his younger brother Chris Cuomo, before the controversies with his brother in 2020, and subsequently between, you know, slapping fannies and killing grannies, as Curtis Sliwa says. Both of the Cuomo brothers, Chris and Andrew, became disgraced at roughly the same time, and they have sort of kind of tried to become relevant since then, but nope. And Mamdani, look at him, he's so happy. Has finally put that fucking centrist shill political dynasty in its long overdue grave. Not literally. Andrew Cuomo did that shit literally, you know, killing elderly, etc. Many such cases.
I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life.
But
Let tonight be the final time I utter his name. As we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few.
let's fucking go. He really said, like, live your life, but don't ever fucking make me say your name in politics again. That's crazy.
New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change. A mandate for a new kind of politics. A mandate for a city we can afford. And a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City.
See, there you go. The election happened. The election happened a couple days ago, but he doesn't get sworn in as mayor until January 1st of next year.
And that is because of you. So before I say anything else, I must say this. Thank you. Thank you to the next generation of New Yorkers who refuse to accept that the promise of a better future was a relic of the past.
It was kind of crazy, by the way, just how much work Zoran's campaign and volunteers put in. It was like the only thing you could talk about, unless you were talking about like Curtis Sliwa being kind of goofy, or Andrew Cuomo brought up Israel again for no reason at all. It literally, the entire Mamdani campaign was him and all the volunteers putting in mad work. Like, I regularly heard about, like, oh yeah, these volunteers canvassing entire fucking neighborhoods in New York, going like block by block, knocking on tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of doors to talk to people. Did it work? Not for every door that they knocked, but like clearly the man fucking got elected, you know? And I think that that's because he inspires something emotionally in people. You know, people feel like Obama's kind of comfortable because he's charismatic, and it does in some way evoke emotional feelings of like satisfaction. But with Obama, he is a pacifying force rather than an animating force. Obama doesn't believe in anything. He's a centrist shill. But Mamdani does. And Mamdani is an animating force. You can kind of tell. He's like, this is a new chapter and we're gonna go in like head first, basically. You know, and it basically he's kind of gotten people in a state that they're ready to believe in politics as a concept again. You know, if for so long there was like a extremely alienating pattern of politicians that were just kind of like distant bureaucrats, right? But Zoran Mamdani isn't that. He was walking around dapping up cab drivers and canvassing with other volunteers for himself to be mayor, you know? When was the last time you heard about that, especially in America, a politician going outside and predominantly walking and biking around with their supporters, going and knocking on doors, visiting local businesses to advocate for their own campaign? He's an activist. When was the last time that a politician in America genuinely behaved first and foremost like an activist championing a cause rather than a bureaucratic careerist trying to present their portfolio to like a hiring manager, basically? You know, do you guys know what I mean? Where like you kind of get that feeling when you see presidential ad campaigns, where it's like it's a fusion of kind of like a highlight reel that's supposed to be kind of cinematic, but also like almost like you're watching an advertisement for a law firm. Like, they will advocate for you. You know what I mean? Does anybody get? Is anybody picking up what I'm putting down there? And then meanwhile, Zoran Mamdani is like, I think the thing that Democrats misidentified as simply social media capability was him being genuinely interested in accomplishing a set of political objectives, regardless of whether he won or not. So the campaign ended up being more about that than about, like, and here's why I'm the best, most qualified candidate for the job. You know, because that's the line that Andrew Cuomo tried to pick. He tried to go like, oh, Zoran Mamdani has no experience in government. He has no experience being Italian. He has no experience harassing women like a real Italian. Definitely a thing that Andrew Cuomo said, by the way. Thank you. Don't fact check that. You know, but I think Zoran put it perfectly that, you know, what I lack in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you lack in integrity, you can never make up for in experience. And to be clear, Zoran Mamdani does have experience. I don't believe in arguments from experience. But if the argument is experience, he has that. He's a state assemblyman. He was an advocate before that. I think he was like a rental assistance attorney or something. Here, hold on. Rental attorney? Protecting here, let me check out his Wikipedia article. My man's got a Wikipedia article. We've truly made it. Yes, you love to see it right there on the Wikipedia. Mayor-elect of New York City, assuming office January 1st, 2026. We are so back. Oh, man. Yeah, incumbent state assemblyman for the 36th district. What else did he... Yeah, what else did he do? He did something before being an assemblyman, too. Let's see. Music, early political involvement. Entered New York City politics as a volunteer for Ali Najmi's campaign in the 2015 special election. Joined the New York City DSA. Worked for the campaign of New York City Council candidate. Where? Okay. So that's, let's see, 2015 to 19, he did politics and stuff. Do they not have anything about his, like, rent assistance advocacy? Yeah, here we go. Before running for office, here, look. Before running for office, Mamdani worked as a foreclosure prevention and housing counselor. There, he assisted lower-income immigrant homeowners in Queens with eviction notices and efforts to remain in their homes. He said the experience motivated him to run for office to address the housing and affordability crisis. There you go. Like, again, it's every negative thing you hear about Zoran Mamdani is basically a lie made up to try to, like, politically smear him, especially from Cuomo, right? Like, oh, he's never had a real job. Motherfucker, this is the realest job that I've ever heard of anybody having. Yeah, I try to help tenants and, like, low-income homeowners not be evicted from their homes. Like, what, legitimately, what is a more real job than this? You know, like, you could pick a low-hanging fruit. Okay, janitor, sure, fucking, like, what is a more real job than that? You're not going to tell me Andrew Cuomo's history of, like, consulting or whatever is a more real job than that. Screw off. I'm getting myself worked up. Let's go back to my glorious king.
You showed that when politics speaks to you without condescension, we can usher in a new era of leadership. We will fight for you because we are you. Or as we say on Steinway, ana minkum wa ilaykum.
Very good.
Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses.
See, this is how you do the politics of diversity. You don't do that cynical id-poll bullshit. This is actually, like, to me, this is antithetical to identity politics. You know, regardless of your ethnicity, like, we all share the same interests. The Uzbeks, the Yemenis, all the immigrants that make up the city, did you say Senegalese or Sudanese? I'm fucking racist. I'm getting my African countries mixed up.
I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas.
You name drop Mexico too. That's true. Senegalese. Okay, I got it right the first time.
Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties.
People love their aunties. And what makes this all the more genuine, these are all probably references to people he's personally talked to and interacted with, which makes him infinitely more of a real person than any other of the, like, archetype of politician that I was talking about earlier, right? But yeah, like, you know, there's the cynical id poll that you instantly recognize as identity politics, where Bernie Sanders gets up there and talks about Medicare for all is the direction we must take this country because healthcare is a human right. It would, in fact, be less expensive than the current insurance system. And then Hillary Clinton's like, yeah, but, like, what is, how is Medicare for all gonna help black women? Because, like, the purpose of invoking identity in such a fashion is to divide people, to prevent them from realizing their interests. This is antithetical to that. This is like, hey, interests first, and look at all this giant range of people that are, like, committed to making that happen. You know? Affordability, bringing the rent down, all things that matter irrespective of your race or ethnicity. And by the way, look at this giant ethnically diverse coalition that is interested in making all of this political change happen. You know? Look at how big of a tent we have in service of these very, like, politically progressive aspirations, right? It would basically be like, this is the Medicare for All coalition. Look at all of these different faces from different backgrounds. Everybody needs healthcare, right? You use that to make the point that everybody needs this, but, like, you don't hinge the point on it. because it's kind of natural that such a big coalition develops for such essential political needs.
To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point,
And I don't even necessarily need to explain it like that from a strategic perspective, because if you are genuinely interested in these things, it will come naturally. You don't have to go out of your way to do that. Id poll is something you have to go out of your way to invoke. It is incredibly disingenuous and like all purity testing and virtue signaling and shit like that. But then this is just so natural. Like, yeah, it's New York. Everybody fucking lives here.
know this. This city is your city, and this democracy is yours too. This campaign is about people like Wesley, an $11.99 organizer I met outside of Elmhurst Hospital on Thursday night.
Local union mentioned?
Who lives elsewhere, who commutes 2 hours each way from Pennsylvania because rent is too expensive in this city.
Ouch.
It's about people like the woman I met on the BX 33 years ago, who said to me, I used to love New York, but now it's just where I live. And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver I went
Richard?
on a 15-day hunger strike with outside of City Hall.
Oh shit. Name dropping is fucking, that is so real.
7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now.
The absolute state of labor rights, or the lack thereof, in the United States. People still have to work 7 days, like every day of the week in America, and barely make ends meet. This country is economically fucked. It is no wonder that the moment an emotionally compelling narrative emerged on the left, nobody could put up a fight.
This victory is for all of them. And it's for all of you. The more than 100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force.
100,000 volunteers. That is insane for a mayoral race, even in a city as big as New York.
Make this city one that working people can love and live in again. With every door knocked, every petition signature earned, and every hard-earned conversation, you eroded the cynicism that has come to define our politics.
Oh yeah, I think I even vaguely remember there was a time where Zoran Mamdani had to do some major campaigning just to get on the ballot at all for the New York primary. He had to, for those not familiar, if you're a very small candidate, you have to justify why you should be allowed on the ballot by going around and collecting a large number of signatures of people who would say, yes, I would like to see that this person be on the political ballot, right? It's not the same as saying I endorse or vote for this person, just I want them to be allowed to run. That's its own thing. He had to do that in this election cycle for the primary to get on the ballot. And then still he was only polling at 1%. And then all of a sudden, here we are. Mayor-elect Mamdani.
Now I know that I have asked for much from you over this last year. Time and again, you have answered my calls. But I have one final request. New York City, breathe this moment in. We have held our breath for longer than we know. We have held it in anticipation of defeat. Held it because the air has been knocked out of our lungs too many times to count. Held it because we cannot afford to exhale. Thanks to all of those who sacrificed so much, we are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn. To my campaign team, who believed when no one else did,
I'm smiling like an idiot,
And you
dude.
took an
This is
electoral project
great.
and turned it into so much more. I will never be able to express the depth of my gratitude.
He
You
had an
can sleep
incredible
now.
team. That's probably only half of a joke because he and his people were up like late at night doing this
To
shit
my
too.
parents, Mama and Baba, you have made me into the man I am today. I am so proud to be your son.
Oh yeah, also I think isn't Mamdani Gujarati Muslim? Here, let me see. Yeah, his family is oh no, well his dad is Gujarati Muslim. I think they were forced to flee. Yeah, his father's family was part of the Indian diaspora in Southeast Africa. His family had to flee genocide in India.
And to my incredible wife, Ra,
And then, you know, people are wondering, why won't you capitulate to this genocidal nation in the Middle East? I wonder fucking why. You know, I wonder if there could be something very strong, like emotionally strong, motivating him to not like countries that commit genocide. Beyond, of course, the principle that genocide is bad. ChatGPT's so ass even in chess. Fucking kill him, King.
Mama. Hayati. There is no one I would rather have by my side in this moment and in every moment. To every New Yorker, whether you voted for me, for one of my opponents, or felt too disappointed by politics to vote at all, thank you for the opportunity to prove myself worthy of your trust. I will wake each morning with a singular purpose: to make this city better for you than it was the day before.
Republican candidate getting 1 million less votes than Mamdani is awesome. Well, here, let's see. I'm at 928 there. Let me see if I can find the vote totals. The Republican candidate actually only got 180,000 less votes than Mamdani. Curtis Sliwa got 1 million less votes. You guys got to remember the Republican and Democratic parties both snubbed their own candidates in favor of supporting Andrew Cuomo. The Democratic Party wanted nothing to do with Zohran Mamdani, and the Republican Party actually wanted nothing to do with Curtis Sliwa. They were both on the Andrew Cuomo ride or die train, both major parties. And like, unironically, I would consider Andrew Cuomo much closer to modern Republicans than Curtis Sliwa, because Curtis Sliwa has some like ideas that are workable and doesn't just hate everybody. But yes, Curtis Sliwa did have a historically poor performance in this election, and that's because that's partially, at least, because of Trump's endorsement of Andrew Cuomo. Because remember, Donald Trump endorsed Andrew Cuomo the day before the election. Let's go back to where I was. Progressive Republicans in the big 2025. I know, it's crazy.
There are many who thought this day would never come, who feared that we would be condemned only to a future of less, with every election consigning us simply to more of the same. And there are others who see politics today as too cruel for the flame of hope to still burn. New York, we have answered those fears. Tonight we have spoken in
Random bass drop.
a clear voice. Hope
Okay.
is alive. Hope is a decision that tens of thousands of New Yorkers made day after day. Volunteer shift after volunteer shift, despite attack ad after attack ad.
That's true. There was no shortage of attack ads, but the funny thing is, conventional attack ads don't fucking work. In the presidential campaign, sometimes you see attack ads have a certain degree of effectiveness because both campaigns are roughly equally ineffective with how they spend resources on media messaging. But social media and in-person canvassing and activist work is the name of the game now in politics. It probably has been for some time, but the major parties sort of refuse to see that. Republicans, because it's like antithetical to people who would want to do grassroots anything, right? And the Democrats, because again, their job is to funnel all the money into the consultants who hate grassroots politics. But when there's a swamp of conventional attack ads, it's kind of useless against somebody who has an on-the-ground presence and social media presence, particularly an on-the-ground presence and a history of activism and genuine conviction and belief. And this much charisma doesn't hurt either, obviously.
Stood in our churches, in gymnasiums, in community centers, as we filled in the ledger of democracy. And while we cast our ballots alone, we chose hope together. Hope over tyranny. Hope over big money and small ideas. Hope over despair. We won because New Yorkers allowed themselves to hope that the impossible could be made possible.
Oh, hey, it's that thing you were saying about the main character earlier.
Because we insisted that no longer would politics be something that is done to us. Now it is something that we do.
Yep. Remember, the whole, if you don't do politics, politics is going to do you. If you do politics, politics isn't going to do you because you're doing politics. Big brain.
Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history.
I don't know who that is. I'm gonna be real.
To the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new. So let us speak now with clarity and conviction that cannot be misunderstood about what this new age will deliver and for whom. This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt. Central to that vision will be the most ambitious agenda to tackle the cost of living crisis that this city has seen since the days of Fiorello LaGuardia.
Yeah, cost of living crisis is about right. Let me look up the median rent in New York City. According to Zillow, the average rent in New York City is $3,575 per month. That is rent. Average rent. Okay, right now average rent is. Oh, great. Apartments.com has more details. Average rent for a studio apartment in New York is $3,265 a month. Average rent for a one bedroom is $4,000. Average rent for a two bedroom, what I'm in right now, by the way, a two bedroom apartment, not in New York, but two bedroom apartment, $5,472 a month. Average rent for a three bedroom apartment, $6,961 a month. Oh, and by the way, these are not large apartments either. Studio average square footage, 436. One bedroom average square footage, 590. Two bedroom square footage, average 794. 3-bedroom square footage average 975. In the past year, rent has increased by 2.5%, which averages out to $102 more per month. That is obscene. 84% of rentals in New York are above $2,000 a month. Jesus Christ. When, we hear the term cost of living crisis on occasion, and sometimes, like, Democrats talk about it in such a dispassionate, bureaucratic way that it's hard to believe that they believe it. Mamdani believes it, and he believes it because that shit really is a crisis.
An agenda that will freeze the rents for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. Make buses fast and free. And deliver universal childcare across our city. Years from now.
And the same campaign promises, by the way. Same campaign promises. These are the same things that he said he wanted to do at the very beginning of, of his candidacy for the mayor of New York. Fast and free bus system, universal free childcare, and bringing down the rents, like rent freeze for rent stabilized units and building more affordable housing. All consistent shit. Like, many politicians will back away from their stated positions as, the election gets closer because of the whole, like, dispassionate bureaucrat who believes in nothing kind of thing. But, he's not like that.
Be that this day took so long to come. This new age will be one of relentless improvement. We will hire thousands more teachers. We will cut waste from a bloated bureaucracy. We will work tirelessly to make lights shine again in the hallways of NYCHA developments where they have long flickered. Safety and justice will go hand in hand as we work with police officers to reduce crime and create a department of community safety that tackles the mental health crisis and homelessness crises head on.
I love that he's bringing this shit up right up front. Like, oh, haha, I'll work with police officers to make this community safety department that police officers will not be a part of. Basically, it's gonna be like a corps of social workers to address these mental health issues, because it is a very unfortunate but real meme in the United States that cops will just shoot you if you're having a mental breakdown.
Excellence will become the expectation across government, not the exception. In this new age we make for ourselves, we will refuse to allow those who traffic in division and hate to pit us against one another. In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light.
Based?
Here, we believe in standing up for those we love. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many...
Also, a massive difference between Mamdani and the rest of the Democrats. He'll name drop the trans community specifically in saying, we will support you. A lot of Democrats will fly like the progress flag and they'll say the LGBTQ plus community or whatever, but they'll never refer to trans people particularly. And trans people are possibly one of the most vulnerable groups that centrists have been the least willing to go out on a limb. And it's not a limb, to support when their rights are under threat. Literally, it's like, oh, first they came for the for the transes, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trans. The Democrats have been like unwilling to commit to preventing that first domino from falling, right? If that makes sense. But he's no ordinary Democrat. So, based Zoran Mamdani says trans rights.
Black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job. A single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down.
That's true. Donald Trump loved to fire black women.
Back against the wall. Your struggle is ours too. And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election.
Yes, own that fraud. I was like, this is great, as him fucking giving a giant rhetorical middle finger to all the news media and Andrew Cuomo, who are constantly saying, yeah, but will you support Israel though? Support Israel, Queen. Support Israel's right to exist as a Jewish ethno-state, Queen. And so he was like, yeah, anti-Semitism is bad. By the way, stop fucking trucking and bartering in Islamophobia. Thank you. Fuck off. I won the mayor's race. Get your asses back to New Jersey or wherever you're headquartered. They're probably not headquartered in New Jersey, but you know what I mean. Like, remember that CBS, like local CBS channel that interviewed Zoran Mamdani? Or was talking about him. It might have even been in absentia. I don't even know. But that, like, asked him about whether he would arrest Netanyahu and phrased it as, how are New York Jews going to feel about you arresting their prime minister? Like, motherfucker, they are Jewish New Yorkers. Like, CBS doing unironic, like, dual loyalty conspiracy posting anti-Semitism in their accusation of Zoran being anti-Semitic for wanting to prosecute a war criminal if he sets foot in New York. Which, by the way, New York City, if I'm not mistaken, that's where the UN building is. Yeah. The fucking United Nations building is in New York.
This new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. For years, those in City Hall have only helped those who can help them. But on
A lot of
January
quid pro quo.
1st, we will usher in a city government that helps everyone. Now, I know that many have heard our message only through the prism of misinformation. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent to redefine reality and to convince our neighbors.
Dude, they spent so much money trying to prevent Zoran Mamdani from getting elected.
That this new age is something
And it didn't work, by the way.
As has so often occurred, the billionaire class has sought to convince those making $30 an hour that their enemies are those earning $20 an hour. They want the people to fight amongst ourselves so that we remain distracted from the work of remaking a long broken system. We refuse to let them dictate the rules of the game anymore. They can play by the same rules as the rest of us.
Yes! Let's fucking go, dude.
Together, we will usher in
By the way, that's not just a platitude. people who have a lot of money literally are not beholden to the same rules as people who don't have a lot of money. Because of how managing a very large portfolio works, you literally have extra legal, not extra legal as in outside the law, but you have more legal privileges, not just as a matter of fact, but as a matter of law. If you are a business owner, if you like a very wealthy business owner, if you are a billionaire and have like stock portfolios and stuff, you have extra privileges under the law relative to a regular person who earns a salary but doesn't have the kind of money to be investing in like, you know, speculative investments, in parentheses, gambling.
A generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves.
He's the new main character, man.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
Yeah.
And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power.
Oh, Mark's posting material conditions.
This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching,
The call out.
I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Everybody, I was surprised that everybody fucking lost it for that, but that was a really good mic drop for the speech. Oh my god, it's beautiful. He really said you want to compare. Yeah, W. Mamdani. He said, like, Donald Trump, I know you're watching. I'm the fucking main character now. Fucking, what aura on this man.
We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have
Checkmate
grown
chat
far too
GBT.
comfortable
Nice.
taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside
True.
unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Yes, rub it in. Rub it in harder. My glorious king.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us. When we enter City Hall in 58 days,
Make mistakes.
expectations
Oh, interesting.
will be high. We will meet them.
Damn.
A great New Yorker once said that while you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. If that must be true, let the prose we write still rhyme and let us build a shining city for all. And we must chart a new path, as bold as the one we have already traveled. After all, the conventional wisdom would tell you that I am far from the perfect candidate. I am young,
Yep.
despite my best efforts to grow older. I am Muslim.
That's true.
democratic socialists. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this.
Nice. Nice.
If tonight teaches us anything, it is that convention has held us back. We have bowed at the altar of caution, and we have paid a mighty price.
I appreciate how plainly he's spelling this out too.
Themselves in our party.
Like, this is shit that I've been saying.
Us have turned to the right for answers to why they've been left behind. We will leave mediocrity in our past. No longer will we have to open a history book for proof that Democrats can dare to be great. Our greatness will be anything but abstract. It will be felt by every rent-stabilized tenant who wakes up on the first of every month, knowing the amount they're going to pay hasn't soared since the month before. It will be felt by each grandparent who can afford to stay in the home they have worked for, and whose grandchildren live nearby because the cost of childcare didn't send them to Long Island. It will be felt by the single mother who is safe on her commute and whose bus runs fast enough that she doesn't have to rush school drop-off to make it to work on time.
Again, I'm almost positive he has talked to people with these experiences, like, personally.
New Yorkers open their newspapers in the morning and read headlines of success, not scandal. Most of all, it will be felt by each New Yorker when the city they love finally loves them back. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... Let the words we've spoken together, the dreams we've dreamt together, become the agenda we deliver together.
He's fucking nice with it, dude. He's incredibly good at this.
This power, it's yours. This city belongs to you. Thank you.
I appreciate also this, that brought shades of the, like, Elon Musk doing the Sieg Heil at the inauguration and Mamdani displaying, here guys, it's actually quite easy to not Sieg Heil. Let me show you what I mean by this. There's so many, if you know what lines to read between, you, like, it's so good. It's so good. And he even addresses, like, there have been a lot of concerns coming primarily from the left and disingenuously from the center that, like, oh, Mamdani ran a great campaign and all, but, like, he might suck as mayor. I don't think he's going to, because he's got the mind of an activist and he's willing to, like, commit to the bit. You know, a lot of people, like he was saying, a lot of people are just overly cautious, but particularly in politics, a lot of politicians end up being overly cautious and they just don't do anything for fear of upsetting the sort of quid pro quo relationships that they've built with businesses, you know? There we go. What a speech. It's truly, you guys saw, I kind of just smiled through a lot of that speech, which was not, like, intentional or anything. It's just a good speech. You know, evil Obama be like, what if I actually did the thing? Right? I guess that's kind of like That's kind of like how I feel about that. You know, Obama was Mr. Transformative change. Obviously, he didn't believe in any of that or deliver on it or anything like that. It's very easy to tell, I think, from that. Zoran Mamdani has such a penchant for activism. Well, that is unfortunate. Well, I'm down a reviver seed. I'm down to 2, I think. No, 3. Down to 3 reviver seeds. Legitimately, I feel like that speech gives me more motivation just in general. You know? Again, animating force versus pacifying force. Legit, I was picturing, like, imagine that Zoran Mamdani is like, you can fucking do this. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You know? There's something about it. Is it parasocial? Yes. But people need some kind of social, or in this case, I guess, parasocial connection to power. As I think it's even fair to say people need a social connection to political power in order for society to function, right? And so much of the 90s and 2000s, ever since the 80s particularly, so much of American politics has been defined by power becoming more and more antisocial. You know, like that social connection deteriorating, people losing that social connection, not just to, you know, directly to the political halls of power, though certainly there, but like to the whole world, to the world around them. You know? I personally, I foresee good things in New York City's future. The situation that New York City is in right now, economically speaking, is frankly untenable. And I think that those are like circumstances that enabled somebody like Zoran Mamdani to be so popular and take the stage and all that, is because like you can't have an average rent of $3,500. $4,000, by the way, for a 1-bedroom. You cannot have an average rent that high with incomes being what they are and still have a city. You know, like the essential socioeconomic function of an urban environment starts to break down when things get that bad. You know? My only regret in the course of this race transpiring is that I didn't phone bank for Mamdani more. You know? That is truly my only regret for that. Thanks for watching, and support the channel if you would be so kind.